الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Alright, assalamu alaikum everyone. Ramadan Mubarak. Hope you guys are all doing well, inshallah. Today, inshallah, we'll be doing Arabic calligraphy together, inshallah. And I've designed this activity to be really, easy for anyone to do it, especially if you don't have any background in writing Arabic or in doing Arabic calligraphy. So what I did is I made this template. Specifically for today's activity, we'll be doing together the word Allah together, inshallah. And so I designed this template specifically for today's activity, and inshallah it will be available on Eid United's website in PDF format, and it'll be printable for anyone that is interested in doing this activity with us today, inshallah. So if you want, you can go ahead to eidunited.org and you'll find this template over there, inshallah. Okay, so before we get started, inshallah, let's quickly go over a few items that you will need for today's activity. So of course, the first thing you'll need is a canvas. This is just a canvas, and this one is actually 5 by 7 inches, the one that I'll be using today, inshallah. But you can really just pick any size that you want, that is suitable for the area that you'll be. Of course, you'll be needing your template. You'll be needing some paint, and today I'm using acrylic paint. Of course, a paintbrush, some water. You'll need carbon paper. You'll need some scissors, a pencil, of course. You'll need some tape. And what I'll be using today for the writing after customizing my background, I'll be using a Sharpie oil-based marker. And I'm going to be using the color black today. And I have it in 2 sizes. So this one is, doesn't say the size here, but I have the big one here. And then I have a small one over here, just to make the edges clean. All right. So let's go ahead and get started, inshallah. Today, I will be using the color purple, since it's my favorite color. So I will be using that for my background. All right. I will be using 2 different shades of purple today, and kind of make like a gradient design, just something very simple. All right. So whenever you're painting on canvas, you need to make sure that your paintbrush is as dry as possible. Just to avoid, making the acrylic paint really thin. So what I'll be starting with a lighter color in the center, and then I will use a darker purple on the edges. All right. Let's move this inside. All right. So I'll be doing and then you can really just be very creative, with the background that you want. It doesn't really have to be, you can do either solid colors or you could do multiple colors. You can just get really creative with it. If you're a very artistic person and you really want to get into it, you could do like flower designs. But if you want to make any kind of designs or any kind of borders, just make sure that you leave you make it like really around the border, and you leave like space in the middle for the writing. All right, so let's go ahead and and what I'm doing here is I'm also making sure that I'm getting the edges, because I will not be framing this particular piece, so I'm just going to make sure that I get on the edges. And what usually I like to do is I like to start with light colors before I use any dark color, because once you have a dark color on your paintbrush, then it is it's kind of hard to when you're merging the colors, it's kind of hard for the light color to show. So I usually start with the light color and then go with the dark ones. And then some acrylic paints are kind of thin. So what you want to do is you might want to do 2 coats for a particular paint. It's really up to you, or if you just want to increase the amount of paint that you have on your canvas, but it's just going to take a little bit longer to dry. Right. So we're pretty much almost done with this one right here. And then once you have both, or you have all the colors that you want on your canvas, once you have that all done, then you can go ahead and clean your paintbrush, and then we'll blend in on the borders. So I'm going to just dry my paintbrush and kind of like remove all the paint from there without really using any water, because the acrylic paint is already thin and I don't want it to get diluted or become runny on the canvas. Alright, so I've already removed all the paint from here and kind of dried it. And so what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to try and blend in these borders. Alright, I think this is pretty much it. And we're going to let this sit down and air dry for about 30 minutes. And we'll be back for the calligraphy part. Alright everyone, Assalamu alaikum. So my canvas is dry now. So I just want to make sure that it's dry from all sides, because you don't want to get paint on yourself or any surface that you're working on. So we're gonna move on to the actual calligraphy writing part now. So what you'll need for this part, you'll need carbon paper, and mostly carbon paper comes in the color black, which is what we'll be using today. And black is really, suitable, pretty much for any color except if you're using a black canvas. So if you're using a black canvas, then you'll want to get a white carbon paper. Okay, so we're going to use a carbon paper. You're going to need your template. You're going to need a pencil. And you'll need tape. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that our template, or like the writing, it will fit onto the canvas. Okay, so the one that I have over here that will be available on Eid United's website, eidunited.org. This one will be, it comes in the size for a 5x7 canvas. Okay, so we just want to make sure that it'll fit it, and that the writing won't come out on the edges. If you want to do it on a bigger canvas, you can just adjust the the percentage of like how much you want to zoom in when you're printing it. Okay, so if you want to do it on on a bigger canvas, for example like an 8x10, then you'll want to print it double the size. so it can fit on that. Okay. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to usually what I like to do in these kind of cases whenever I'm using like a template, I just like to make sure that that I position the canvas on here, and then just kind of like mark around the edges, just to make sure that when I am putting my carbon paper and putting the template on top of my canvas, that it will be centered. Okay. All right, so this kind of looks good. I'm just going to trim this edge a little bit. Okay. All right, so what I wanted to do is I want to get my my template, make sure that it is around the edges, make sure that the top part is like on the top edge. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a small piece of a Scotch tape, and I will okay, so first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put the tape on here on my template, and then I'll make sure that it is centered. What you want to do is you want to use like a small piece of tape because you do not want to peel off any of the paint. Okay, so once that is positioned over there and that you're satisfied with the position of your writing, yeah, you can go ahead and tape it. Once that is done, you're going to go ahead, you're going to bring your carbon paper, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this into half. And also when you're using the carbon paper, you need to be very careful at the pressure that you're putting on the paper, because you do not want the carbon paper to come like on the rest of the paint over here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my carbon paper here. Okay, and then I will cover it, and then you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna get your pencil, and then you're just going to trace over the template. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and trace over this, and then I will see you guys back in a few minutes. All right, so now I am done tracing on top of the template. You just want to make sure that, like I said before, you do not want to press a lot around this area because you do not want it to leave an impression on your canvas. Okay. All right, so now I'm done with that. So now first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the carbon paper. And if you can see how it turned out. Now it doesn't have to be it doesn't matter if it's really dark or if it's really light, as long as you can see and you know exactly where you're going to be writing the calligraphy on. Okay. All right, so I'm going to remove this. Right. And so now I'm going to be using for the actual writing, I'm going to be using a Sharpie oil-based marker, and this is in the color black. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using the big one for like the main area. So for like over here, for like the main area, I'm going to be using the big one, or like inside over here. For the smaller and for like the finer edges, I will be using the smaller one. All right, and then these you can find them on Amazon, or you can find them at Michael's. All right. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is you need to make sure that you are very careful with this one, because sometimes, like, if you press too hard on it, a lot of the oil-based the marker, it can spill, you know. So make sure that you're not putting a lot of pressure, and that you're just kind of monitoring how much oil is being dispensed from here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is and also another thing, I'm putting this closer to the camera just for you guys to see, but whenever you're doing it, just make sure that you are putting it like on a stable surface, you know, so you won't mess up on the edges, because it is pretty much permanent. And it's kind of hard to correct any mistakes that happens. So, you know, with paint. So just make sure that you go very slowly and that it's on a stable surface, and that you go slowly. All right. So I'm just going to show you a little bit Look how it turns out. Alright, so this is how it's going to look. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to finish this up, and then I will be back to show you guys the final look. Alright everyone, so alhamdulillah, this is finished. This is the final look. Quickly I will go over the edges with the fine marker. So I have a thinner marker over here. I'm going to go over the edges and then just make the edges a little bit more cleaner. But that's pretty much it. And usually I finish any canvas painting, any calligraphy piece that I usually make. I usually finish it with a satin varnish finish, which is pretty much a clear coat that will protect the canvas from wearing out or protect it from any light, or also from any damage or any on the canvas because it's stretched out. So just want to make sure that you protect the canvas itself and also protect the colors on this. So that's pretty much it that I use. I actually ran out of it, so I will not be using that one today. But if that is something that you want to do, then you can just go ahead. I usually get mine from Michael's, so you can just go ahead and look it up. It's a satin varnish finish. And it's kind of glossy, so it also makes it look really good. So that's pretty much it, inshallah. I hope you guys enjoyed today's activity. I will be doing a giveaway on my Instagram. If you want to follow it, my Instagram handle is calligraphy _by _Sumayya, which is SUMAYYAM. And that is my Instagram handle, so make sure you go and check it out. I'm doing a giveaway for Eid, inshallah. And also, if you have any questions or if you need help with any of the calligraphy pieces that you're doing, you can just go ahead and DM me over there. All right, so it was really fun doing this activity with you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy it. If you do this activity, please go ahead and tag me on Instagram and show me your work. All right, jazakumullah khairan, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وسلم دائما أبدا على